Hi creatives, Chidi here, and on today's tutorial I have another interesting one, the Bubu dress that you can see on the screen. I will share with you every bit of the step that I took to make this beautiful Bubu gown. If this sounds like what you'll be interested in, then come with me as I show you every bit of the step I took to make this. Right here I have my fabric, I have the pattern master, I have tape, I have my scissors and the paper that I'll be using to write down my measurements. I also have my chalk because I'll be drafting directly on the fabric. Feel free to use your measurements or your client's measurements, okay? Now I'll be needing my shoulder, my across chest, my waist, my hip, the gown length. I'll be using the back length, not the front half length. I'll be using the back half length for this very tutorial. Now watch me as I show you every bit of the process I took to make this beautiful dress. Now I have about 3.5 yards of fabric, not very much enough for this, a little above 3.5, and my client is big, so I will be showing you how I managed to make this dress with that quantity of fabric. I can say it's about 4 yards, okay? So that is what I have here. I've already folded my fabric into two. As you can see how I folded it, you can see the selvage there and how I folded my fabric so that I can get the length that I want. Here I'm marking just a borderline 1 inch from the edge of the fabric there, and I'll be squaring it. I'll be ruling a line across that place, just as you can see me do, because I'm drafting directly on fabric. This is 3.5 and 3.5 there. I'm just using a front basic neck, but this is actually the back pattern that I am drafting. Just watch and you will understand everything that I did. I'm taking my shoulder measurement here, and that is 8, that is half of 16, and this is across chest, which is 7.5, that is 15 at the level of 5 from the shoulder. Can you see that? Yes. So that is what I did there. And here I'm marking my bust. That is simply your bust measurement divided by 4. You take note of that. Here I'm marking my back half length just as I said. And that is what I just marked, and I'm rolling it across with my pattern master. Okay. Now I'm marking my hip measurement, which is about 8.5 inches from the waistline there, and I just mark my hip. That is my hip divided by 4. Now you can see what I'm doing. I'm going ahead to take my shoulder slope. I dropped it by 1 and I'm connecting to the neck. Watch closely to understand what I'm doing here. I am taking my armhole measurement. Watch closely to see what I did. Your armhole measurement divided by 2. You will take the measurement just as I did right now. And I'm taking my curve. It's as easy as that. Okay, don't mind the first curve that I took. I will clean it up. That is not okay. That is beautiful. I hope you're following. I connected that waist line to the hip. Now I'm marking my waist. I'm just making more like a basic torso foundation for the back pattern, right? Okay, now see how I connected that, the bust to the waist and then to the hip. Here I am taking my sleeve length. You can see me connect it to the shoulder. Watch that I did not slope it. I did not take it. Yes, I did not slope it all through. I now placed my ruler straight from that shoulder tip and I connected it. That is the same thing that you would do. My slope is just from the neckline to the shoulder tip. Now watch what I took for this. I took about I think 13 inches and I marked it. Yeah. And I'll be connecting this to my waistline. Watch closely how I did that, okay? Then before I connect that, I took about 6 inches from my waist point. Watch closely. That is the essence of drafting this so that you will know the exact fullness that you want to take. Now I took 6 inches. Feel free to make your own 7 or 8. This will help you to control the fullness of your bubu. My client has body, she's on the big side, so because of that, I took 6 so that it won't make her look too big. Okay, I took this straight down to the hem of the dress. Now I'm measuring the length of the gown. Watch closely to see what I'm doing here, and that is what I'm marking there. I hope you're following. Watch closely. Apart from what I'm saying, just watch and you will understand every bit of what I'm doing. I'm measuring from the edge of the wrapper so that I will get exactly that line, and I've taken it to the hem. Okay, I took it straight to the hem. Now the essence of this basic, this is the neck, this is the front neck, but that is not what I'm taking. I dropped it by 1 inch and I'm connecting right now because it is the back I am cutting. I'll use the back and then cut my front pattern. Now I've put 1/2 inch sewing allowance or seam allowance to that shoulder line. I didn't put any on the neckline because I'm okay with the drop. Now this is what I did. Okay, here I'm also taking 1/2 inch and I will take it like that down to the hem of the dress. Aside what I'm saying, just watch closely and you will understand every bit of what I am doing. Now I'm done with the back pattern. As you can see, note that all my markings are on the back side of the fabric, not the front, please. And you can easily dust off the chalk. It is not like it's a permanent stuff. Now I've placed my back pattern on the fabric. I folded the remaining fabric and I placed the back pattern on it, as you can see me do. I just cut the neckline, yeah, but I will still modify it to my front neckline. Don't worry about that. I've cut it out. It's not up to the length of the back because my fabric is not enough. It's in bits, it's in pieces. There is still pieces of this fabric remaining that I'll use to make up the length. Now I'm modifying my neckline. I just made a basic front neck and so that I'll be able to drop it to where I want. I'm dropping it now by about 4.5 to 5 inches from the basic neckline, and I'm going ahead to connect to the side neck to make my V-neck for the pattern. Now this is the length I got. This is the V of the front neck. I'll cut my facing when it is time for that. Watch closely to understand every bit of what I'm doing. This is the length I got for my front. I'll go ahead and measure the remaining length, okay, so that I'll know what to add. But in between, I am going to add a matting, a sort of matting to beautify it. Okay, that is creativity. Now this is the remaining length. I've already cut it out, leaving that small space. That space there is where my matting will be. My matting is about 2 inches wide. I've already gone ahead to do it. I used a paper to place strips of fabric across. See the fabric, something like this is what I made. I just cut straight strips and I stitched it all through. See how I folded it and stitched it. So these are what I placed on these 2 inches paper. That is 3 inches because of the sewing allowance of 1 inch. That is 1/2 inch on both sides, okay, but the end result will be 2 inches. So I use this strip along this paper, as you can see on the paper, and I'll be fixing it to this joining part of the front. Watch closely what again I want to do. I want to put a sort of bias there. Can you see that? I cut a long strip. I want this matting to be sandwiched in between two, finished bias edge to give it a fine finish. Watch closely to see what I'm doing with that. It's as easy as that. See, I've gone ahead to stitch this one. Okay, it's after I'm done stitching that I will tear off my paper. Now on this end, I will do the same thing I did on the upper part. I'll fold this into 2 and I'll be using it on that edge, and then I'll be placing my fabric. Watch what I am showing you here. Fold it like this, okay, iron it through and fold it like this, then you fold the fabric and stitch. That is just it, okay, just to give it a fine finish. See what I got? So beautiful, so lovely. Don't bother about the joining on the lower part of the fabric. My facing is going to cover all that. I'm going ahead to tear off my fabric as you can see me do, because I am done with the stitching. Okay, if you tear this before stitching, it will be very difficult. See how beautiful that matting is lying, so beautiful and lovely. You can see how smooth it is in between those bias strips. I went ahead to use a net, that is tulle, that you can see there, to fix on that part, because she may not want part of her body to show. So she may not want it to be see-through. I just use this net to form a sort of blind on the skin. All right, I've gone ahead to fix the net, as you can see, and that is that. I'm done with the front pattern right now, and I just placed the back on it to be sure that the length of the two patterns are the same. And yes, they are the same. The beauty of measurements. Now I am going ahead to fold my facing, as you can see me do, and I'll see the remaining. It's not really up to the length of the fabric, but yeah, length of the gown, but I will make it up with the tiny piece remaining. My stoning will cover it up. Now I'm cutting my neck facing, as you can see. I've cut it out, and I will go ahead and measure the width of my facing. This facing is going down. It's actually on top of the fabric. That is the measurement I'm taking all through. I took about 4 inches on fold, including my seam allowance. Okay, and that is what I am cutting out right now. I'll go ahead and complete the length on the lower side. Now I'm going to stabilize this with a cloth gum. This is a cloth gum, but it's not the very strong one. Okay, I am putting my cloth gum. I've already applied it, as you can see. See how beautiful it is looking. I'll go ahead and turn the reverse side of my front pattern, and I'll be placing my facing, as you can see. Stitch the neck, notch it, and top stitch. Just watch closely and you'll see every bit of what I did. I've stitched it, and I will go ahead and notch. Okay, I'll notch it just as you can see me do, and I will go ahead and top stitch. Watch closely to understand. I'm going ahead to top stitch. I've top stitched it. As you can see, I've already top stitched. This will help your facing to lie flat. I'll go ahead and iron it in place. I've already ironed it in place. As you can see, I will fold it like you can see me do. I'll fold it like so. That is ½ inch in there, and I'll iron it down. I'll go ahead and fix my pins and then stitch it down. Okay, so right here I've stitched it down. You can see my pin. Those were the pins I used to hold the facing in place before I stitched it down. I've gone ahead to stitch it, and I am to cut the back facing. That is what I'm doing right here. I've placed my fabric on fold. That's a tiny strip of fabric, and I've cut out the neckline. I'll go ahead and measure my facing about 3.5 inches or 4, and I am cutting it out. I will take this and fix it on the back neckline, notch it, and then top stitch. That is after applying my cloth gum again. See how I'm cutting out my cloth gum? Exactly the shape of the fabric, and I'll be using my iron to put it in place. All right, I'll use my iron to put it in place. I've done that already, and I'll be fixing it to the neckline of this bubu dress. I will stitch it down, pin it down if you can't hold it, then stitch it down, notch it, and then top stitch. Always top stitch after notching. This will help the neckline to lay flat after ironing. Okay, now I've gone ahead to notch, and I'm going ahead to top stitch and iron in place. Having done that, you can see what I have already. I'll go ahead and close up the remaining part of the fabric, and that is the shoulder. I'll close up the shoulder just as you can see me describe on the screen. I'll hold it shoulder to shoulder like this and flip over my facing. I'll flip my facing over on it. Can you see what I'm doing? I'm pinning the shoulder. After pinning it down, I will now turn over exactly. That is what I'm going to do. Stitch it down and everything will be in place. So that is that. After stitching it down, the next thing to do is to go ahead and work on my sleeve. See how beautiful it is laying, so flat and smooth. Trim off any thread and iron in place. Now I'm going over to my sleeve. Watch how I am going to cut the facing of the sleeve. I kept my fabric on fold and I will be placing my sleeve as you can see me do. Okay, I will cut it out. See how I'm cutting it out? This is how to do yours. This is how you do yours. Cut it out. Bring it out. Ensure it is the width that you want for the sleeve, okay? If it's more than, you can trim it, you can reduce the width. Now I've cut for both sleeves and this is what I have. I will also go ahead to place my cloth gum on this to give it body and everything. Here I trimmed it down because I feel the facing is just too wide. Now I'll also fix my cloth gum to it and yeah, I will fix it to the sleeve as you can see me do. I've already placed my cloth gum on that sleeve facing as you can see, and I will go ahead and stitch it to the sleeve. Watch how I will place it. This is how you place yours on the reverse side of the sleeve. Notch the middle and ensure that it meets the joining part of the shoulder, just as I did. Stitch it down, top stitch and turn over. That is what I just did. I've stitched it down and I've top stitched. Beautiful. Go ahead and iron and it will lay flat for you. Turn it over, top stitch, turn it over, iron, and take in 1/2 inch there and iron it down. That is just all. Stitch it down just as you can see me do, and also do the same for the second sleeve. Okay, that will be all. I will be now closing up my side, the side of the bubu dress. As you can see, I will go ahead and close up the sides. I've gone ahead to close up the sides. You iron your bubu very well, turn your hemline, finish up everything that needs to be finished. As you can see, the gown is already looking so beautiful and lovely. You can compare it with what we have. See our pocket. I'll go ahead and finish up my pocket. I'm placing it on the reverse side. As you can see, the marking there, top stitched. I'm bringing to the front side, taking in my 1/2 inch at that edge and then stitching it down. I'll go ahead and iron. See my measurements, 14 by 11. I think that is the measurements of the pocket. Sorry, here air from the window was really disturbing. So that is just it. You go ahead and fold it in as you can see me do. Use your iron and iron it down. Beautiful. Iron it down, then you place your gown properly the way it should be. I have ironed it down here as you can see, and it is ready to be fixed to the gown. It's ready to be fixed to the gown. I will turn my gown to the place I need to fix it. Pockets are placed about 1.5 to 2 inches from the waistline, and that is what I'm measuring here to get the level of my pocket, and that is about 1.5 to 2 inches from the waistline. Having marked that, I am going to position it in place, that is sideways. I'll position it by the side and I'll place my pocket in place. I've positioned it, observing the line that I marked and also observing the middle of the pocket. I'm going ahead to pin my pocket down. ensure it doesn't, you know, pin the under part of the fabric. That is the other side of the fabric. Now I've pinned it down and this is what I have. I will go ahead and stitch it, and yeah, that will be it. I'll also stitch the reverse side, the other side of the pocket, and this is my finished product. So beautiful. I'll go ahead and stone it with Swarovski stones. Okay, I'll go ahead and stone it. I've finished the cloth here, and this is the style that I am trying to make. I'll place my stones accordingly, and yeah, you will see the finished parts of the dress on the mannequin. Thanks for watching, guys, and see you in my next one. Bye.